The Rockford Tablet, a lost 1874 mound discovery on the Rock River. In the summer of 1874, along the banks of the Rock River near Rockford, Illinois, a group of local men set out to open one of the ancient earthen mounds rising from the river valley. The language of the time called these places mound builder works. Today, we should speak more carefully. These mounds were part of an indigenous landscape, places of memory, burial, ceremony, and community, built by the native peoples long before the modern city of Rockford grew along the river. According to the Chicago Daily Tribune, the mound selected stood about 6 miles from Rockford on high ground above the Rock River. It measured roughly 35 feet across and 8 feet high. The men cut a trench through the center of the mound, working under intense heat, scraping away hard, dry earth. For hours they found little. Then, at a depth of about 6 feet, they encountered a fragile red seam in the soil. What they believed was the trace of ancient pottery, so decayed that it crumbled at a touch. The party considered stopping. The heat was oppressive. The work was exhausting. But they dug a little deeper. Then the spades struck something hard. Out of the yellow earth came a small white object, polished smooth, almost like marble. When the dirt was rubbed away, the men saw a carved tablet covered with symbols. At the top was a face, surrounded by radiating lines like light from the sun. Beneath it ran a vertical bar, crossed by another bar. Along one side were figures described as a coiled serpent, a triangle, another serpent, a lizard, and what looked like a burning taper. On the other side were shapes compared to letters, a dagger-like mark, a fish head, a circle with a central dot, crossing bars, and finally a well-formed fish. The Tribune reported 14 distinct figures in all. The first report called the material gypsum. Later report called it Niagara spar. Its size was only a few inches long, small enough to fit in your hand, but powerful enough to stir the imagination of everyone who saw it. Directly beneath the tablet, the men reported stone tools, spear points, a stone hammer, a chisel, a pipe bowl fragment, fire-marked stones, decayed bones, skull fragment, and what appeared to be a twisted fiber or hair. The article's excitement was immediate. The tablet was taken to the office of the Rockford Journal, where the local residents and the curious could view it. The reporter compared its signs to ancient scripts, zodiacal symbols, and even the great calendar stone of Mexico. Those comparisons reflected the thinking and the speculation of the 19th century. But the most important thing about the Rockford Tablet is not that we must accept every interpretation made in 1874. The important thing is that this small carved stone entered the historical record at a moment when Americans were trying to understand the ancient earthworks around them, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with imagination, and often without the respect owed to indigenous burial places. The Rockford Tablet stands at the crossing point of archaeology, newspaper sensation, local memory, and mystery. Was it a true ancient object? Was it misread through the lens of 19th century enthusiasm? Was it part of a wider era of controversial inscribed tablets and mound discoveries? Those questions remain. But the 1874 report preserves a vivid scene. A hot August day, a mound above the Rock River, a spade driving something white in the earth, and a carved tablet whose strange face and symbols were said to have awakened Rockford's imagination. The Rockford Tablet is more than a relic story. It is a reminder that every mound is a sacred archive, and every discovery must be handled with humility. Added chapter. The story of the Rockford Tablet did not end with the 2 Chicago Tribune reports of 1874. 4 years later, in March 1878, the Tribune returned to the subject and treated the tablet as a continuing sensation. That later account is useful, but it must be handled carefully. It retells the discovery, but it also begins turning the object into a theory of ancient languages, numbers, geometry, and origins. The 1878 article gave a sharper description of the design. It described a small stone about 3.5 inches long and 2 inches wide. Around the engraved face was a border of straight diagonal lines set at 45 degrees, forming diamonds and half diamonds. In the center was a sun figure filled with human face, overlaid with a new moon divided into 5 sections. Below it was an elongated, inverted T. On the sides were marks paired by a reporter Greek letters, along with a serpent, a lizard, a fish, crossing bars, and a mace or lighted torch. Then the follow-up article shifted from the description to interpretation. Professor J.K. Hornseth of Keokuk, Iowa, was said to be visiting Rockford to investigate the discovery. He reportedly considered the tablet genuine and was preparing a treatise on its characters. His reading treated the marks as a mixture of language, number, geometry, and ancient natural science. He even suggested that the tablet might originally have come from Asia. Those claims belong to the film, but as a reception history, they show how the object was understood by some 19th century observers, not what the object has been proven to mean. That is where modern documentary has to separate the evidence into lanes. The first lane is the reported fine context: a mound near Rock River, a trench, a small polished tablet, a depth of mound, and associated stone objects. The second lane is the visual description: the sun face, the new moon, the diamond border, the fish, serpent, lizard, and cross-hatching marks. The third lane is the interpretation: Greek letters, Asian origins, astronomical codes, and creation myths. The first two lanes can be reported. The third lane must be presented as a hypothesis. The supplied 2007 email exchange captures that caution. In response to the article, Gordon Freeman wrote that it was too speculative. In earlier notes, he also warned against astronomical arguments that rely on declination instead of horizon azimuth. That matters for this video. It does not dismiss the Rockford tablet as a story. It means that the claim about sun or moon alignments should be grounded in actual horizon measurements, not in loose symbolic resemblance. The added New York Times article from March 1892 widens the frame. It is not the Rockford discovery, but it shows the same newspaper world of inscribed stones, affidavits, Smithsonian interest, and historical guessing. That article, entitled Sandstone Tablets Found, describes tablets from Illinois bearing strange inscriptions. It's said 2 earlier tablets have been sent to the Smithsonian, and that the theory connected the inscriptions to followers of La Salle or Tonti. Whether or not that theory was correct, the article shows how easily inscribed stones become public mysteries. Taken together, the 1874 report's 1878 follow-up and the 1892 comparison, the 2007 caution creates a layered evidence trail. The strongest evidence is the repeated 19th century description of the Rockford tablet and the vivid report of its discovery. The most uncertain evidence is the meaning assigned to its signs. A good film should not flatten those layers. It should let the viewer see the difference between a reported artifact, a symbolic reading, and a speculative origin story. The Rockford tablet is therefore more than a relic. It is a case study in how mound discoveries become newspaper events, how symbols invited ambitious theories, and how modern interpretation has to slow down. The right closing is not certainty. The right closing is humility. Every mound is a sacred archive. Every mark deserves careful study, and every claim, even an exciting one, has to be weighed against the evidence.